What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonuff71, aka Digadulamite.
Purple bling bling, yo.
And your auditory canals are tuned into episode 254 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. And of course, I'm not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck is Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover.
That's me.
AKA the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy. How's it going, man?
Not too bad, actually. Just happy to be here on a beautiful, beautiful day. It's nice and cool where I'm at. I hope it's cool where you're at. Probably not, because it's a scorcher everywhere nowadays. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here talking about the things that we love, these fantastical, magical games. Want to let everyone know that we will not be doing a show next week. Yours truly, will be at Comic-Con. Yes, I'll be at Comic-Con, and I'll be on a panel. It's for We Belong. It's a comic book that I was in, an anthology that I was in about queer Black creators, about doing queer Black sci-fi and fantasy, because there is there's not a lot of Black folks or POCs in sci-fi fantasy. There's even smaller who are queer. So I'll be there on a panel on Sunday, 10:30. If you have tickets to Comic-Con, please check it out. So yeah, I'll also be signing at the Prism booth as well, so please check it out. We'd love to have you, but because of that, we will not be recording next Sunday. So yeah, but other than that, again,
is this San Diego or New York?
No, this is San Diego, although I will be going to New York this year too in October. So
okay.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the comics. I just love them to death, and so I'll be going. To the day I die, I'll be going to Comic-Cons probably.
Why don't you plug the Geek Chat? I don't think you ever plugged the Geek Chat on this show. So.
Excuse me. Yeah. So I mean, as Joe's talking about, I do another another. I know we're adults here. I have another podcast that I do. It's actually a vlog that I do with a group called The Experience, and I do a comic book podcast with my friend Rich, and it's called the Geek Chat, and you can watch that every Thursday at 6:30. Sorry, 5 to 6:30. Although that time's going to be changing once I start my new job. But you can go to theexperiencelive.com and you can see everything on that. So it's theexperiencelive.com, or just check the Geek Chat. So just type in the Geek Chat into your fantastical magical browser, and it will show you the world. So, but that's about me. Thank you so much, Joe, for asking. I always forget to. So, but yeah, if you want to hear me, if you can't get enough of me, there you go. So, but yeah, that's all I've been doing. Joe, how have you been, buddy?
Everything's been good. Just had a busy week.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Nope. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yo, Kev's got to do his introduction. Kev's got to do his introduction. I forgot. I don't want to steal your shine. I love your introduction. Go ahead, Kev.
Okay. You want to insert edit?
No.
All right, and then of course, our show is a no-go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Just it's busy with work, overtime, and doing some stuff on the side too. So I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of time for gaming. But birthday's coming up, so I'll have a little bit more free time in a couple of weeks at least to kind of do that. I went and saw a Miyazaki movie. Me and listener Goonie got a chance to go see Princess Mononoke in the theater, and I was really enjoying that. So it's been a super long time since I've seen that flick, and I've never seen it subtitled too, and so I'm kind of opening my eyes a little bit for more anime, especially on the big screen. I think it might be a good thing for me to kind of get back into a little bit. So even though I know we don't generally go into movies and talk about other stuff, I might start dipping into that a little bit more, So try to find the time. So
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
it's really good. It's definitely worth it. Hayao Miyazaki's tour de force about nature versus the industrial stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty damn good show. So
yeah, I mean, out of all the Miyazaki movies, I know that's more like action oriented with a message, just like Nausicaa as well,
Valley of the Wind
or Nausicaa.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
On there. I know other movies from his wheelhouse like Totoro and Ponyo are a little bit more whimsical, but I definitely would recommend Princess Mononoke without a doubt. So
yeah,
cool.
Make you cry though.
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, it'll make you cry.
I know. I was trying to hold back the tears. I don't want Goonie to see my sensitive side.
Oh gosh.
I think Goonie will be okay with that.
Gosh.
Goonie will be okay with it. Goonie will be like, "Oh, Joe,
y'all a bunch of wimps. Wimps.
Got to play more Call of Duty and other stuff.
More Call of Duty, sir.
Play some Broforce. There you go. I'll cry.
Yeah, I can't say nothing. I got a little misty eye at the end of Mugen Train, so I feel you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll never admit it, except on a podcast. But anyway, of course, our first topic on our docket, as always, is going to be our playlist. All right, so let's have Jabroni Chiefs kick things off. What's going on with your playlist and summer backlog blowout?
Well, my summer backlog blowout is, basically just parked at the curb, unfortunately, right now.
It is?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Kev.
You're paying for everybody, aren't you?
I'm ready. I am ready for the foods.
Granted, of course, it's like I think I benefited already from a steak and some teppanyaki, so maybe it's about right for me to pay for once. But I paid for Dez's burger, but
I'm not opposed to that, sir. So you just continue.
I know, but this girl I've been dating told me, it's like, why even talk about it? Just do it. Set some time aside and just do it. And it's like, well, it's like when I play when we play online together, I tend to not want to play single player games. I want to play more multiplayer games. And so that's the reason why I haven't really made a lot of progress on there. So, and I should just set aside some time and just do it. So
do it, buddy.
I know it. But as far as what I have been playing, I've dabbled a little bit in Diablo 4, doing some, World Tier 3 business on there, more side quest business on there. Enjoying it still, but it's just something to where I'm not pushing like I was before to try to beat it. And I know that the people that I was supposed to play Helltads with, both Christian and our host, good old Dez, I've moved on to other games. So it's like, but I've been still enjoying just dipping in and checking that out.
My backlog.
Yeah. I also played a little bit more First Descendant. Probably not as much as maybe others, per se. I don't know if you've gone back to it, Des, in the last week, but
I have not, only because the grind is no joke. So, and I've just I enjoy the game, but I just have not been, I'm not there anymore with it. I'll play it again. Don't get me wrong. I will play it again, but I'm just not there anymore, So,
yeah.
As you like to say, I have run cold on it. So,
oh, you've gotten cold? Oh my God.
I run cold on it. How about that?
I'm still lukewarm, so it's like I start playing with Bunny, and Bunny's cool, but it's like I could be playing Destiny. I could be playing like something else in the same kind of wheelhouse, you know.
Yeah, that's every game.
I know it's every game, but it's just it just depends. I got to get used to like playing with different operators, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be up for the grind in this game too, So
Yeah, I was talking to Christian, one of our listeners, and he was really talking about how the grind is just it's one of the worst grinds that he's ever played. And I listened to Christian because Christian, he plays a lot of free games, and he knows what he's talking about. So when he was talking about that, I was like, sheesh. And he's like, either the times are wrong, or the drop rates are wrong, or something's going on, because it is just, it's just insane how much you have to do. So I was like, that does not sound cool at all. So yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna be back on it. I probably, we'll try it, because again, it's a nice little time waster, but at the same time, man, I that seems really, really crazy. But you were saying, sir?
Yeah, so it's like just basically it might be a thing to where I'll go back to it from time to time, but if you're not playing it, I might not play it either. I don't think the hook is super strong with me. I know, Kev, that you tried it a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not sure if this is in your wheelhouse either, so.
It's all right. It's just other games I could be playing. That's really what it boils down to. And I think this might have been a better, this might have held my attention more if it wasn't free to play. I think there's a couple of mechanics in the game that I think would be of a little bit higher quality if it wasn't under the free to play genre. So yeah, I'm not. It's okay. It's gonna be like one of those games where it's like literally I don't have anything else to play, so maybe I'll start it up. It's still on my hard drive. I haven't deleted it yet, but there's just other stuff that I could be playing instead of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. That kind of leads into the last game I've been playing this past weekend.
Oh Lord.
Came about because I saw a thread on Resetera about a game called Dungeons of Sundaria. According to the thread, I have it up right now. It says Dungeons of Sundaria, some fun, janky couch co-op dungeon crawling is the name of the thread on Resetera. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this game is like a kind of a 3D camera, like third person perspective, something that came out of the 2000 era. The style, basically, it's like the user interface is straight out of World of Warcraft, basically. So it's like, and this game's like a 100% dungeon crawler. So loot up the AA. Some character classes, of course, tons of loot. There's quests and crafting. The actual hub that you go into is not even properly animated. You don't even get to walk into like a 3D town or anything like that. It's just like points on the map you click on, and of course the voice acting is kind of just all over the place. It's an independent game, all for sure. We're commenting like I got the Des to buy this because it was on sale on PSN for like $3.74, and so we plus Christian went in and we're playing this game. I think me and Des played it on Thursday night, and then we roped Christian into playing on Friday night, and I was having fun. It was fun times.
Fun was had. It's crazy.
Yeah, fun was had, but some of the zombie voices were like all just this crazy, just like if me or you were in a studio just making just random noises and stuff. And some of the bosses, they have like some like really just bad voice acting when you kill them. It's just like ridiculous. You get like a card in your inventory saying that you murked this particular boss on here,
and it keeps track. Keeps track of how many times that you've killed them as well, because again, there's 7 there's like 7 dungeons, and the dungeons are deep and they're long. Like one run will take you at least. It took us like what 45 minutes.
No, I think it was more like an hour 15, hour 20. I think so.
Oh really? Okay. I think
Remember
because
we didn't sign off until like around 12:30.
you're right.
I think we played like
You're
almost.
right. You're right. That's true. But yeah, you can make your own character. You can, there's 5 characters, 5 character classes, and
5
each
races.
character, yeah, 5 races. And each one gets bonuses for the type of. So sorry, go ahead, Joe. I'll talk more about mine when we get to my points. I'm sorry, I was
no. This is a kind of a group effort. So I mean, and the dungeons are interesting. They have some traps in there, some hidden areas too. So it's like something I haven't really. Yep, I fell into a warm wound of spikes out there. Yes,
it was pretty funny. I was like, damn, Joe.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it because you don't expect things like that. I haven't played like a dungeon crawler proper in a while. You play like more of the Diablo, like where you're not. It's in Diablo, you're not getting swallowed in by the environment. Like the world's not. No sinkholes like jumping out and throwing you in there. Even though that'd be kind of cool to throw in like an ARPG like that. But
yeah, no, you're right, because I was like. It was crazy, like the amount of traps, and it's janky. Like let's not get it wrong. Like it's an action RPG. You run around behind the back, and you're throwing fireballs or swinging your axe and stuff, and you run into a room, you got to fight a boss. You go into another room, you got to fight a boss. You go into and it's maze like too. That was the thing I wasn't expecting, is how maze like it was. And there's hidden rooms everywhere, and you're expected to run it multiple times. Like you are expected to run the dungeons multiple times in order to level up your character. And I think one of the things that's really cool is the level up mechanic, because you level up and then you unlock your skills, and then you go to a trainer in town, and that trainer will you buy training books in order to raise the levels of your abilities and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's heroic abilities that open up at level 16, and according
I thought it was 20.
okay.
Now. I thought it was level 20, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and according to the Resetera thread, there is a bug with the game. This shows you how janky. It's a game-breaking bug where if you're in an online party and jump through the portal at the end of a dungeon, you could lose all your items and levels.
What? That is fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, the current workaround is that you just have to go back to town in options versus going through the portal before the host leaves. Because if the host leaves, you're asked out. So
I'm glad we knew that.
So I can imagine if we played an hour 20 gaining all these levels and then just lost all our progress.
I would be like, what the hell, man?
But you guys do know that Grand Blue Relink exists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be playing a game that's not janky and will not delete your progress after.
What fun is that, though?
I mean, I'm just saying.
We want to live by the sword.
Y'all living on the edge of jank.
Hey,
make it holla. I got my $4 worth. So
yeah, leave it to Joe to find the jank.
Well, one thing that the thread was talking about is like if you're looking for something that you could play split screen, like together couch co-op, you could play this 4 players split screen couch co-op. So or even like 2-player or whatnot. So if you want to just like have at it, maybe we will dare to play this, in a party at some point in time.
I don't know.
Be kind of cool.
I don't know. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Because I don't want to lie, but it's not bad. It definitely is not bad.
I know.
Is it great?
No.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know Ace Black was commenting because Christian left a gameplay clip in the Gaming Vessels PSN chat, and basically the words from Ace Black was like, "What the heck?" Basically. So.
Yeah, because like there were a couple of glitches in the game where you would where you beat these three bosses, and if you beat one of them before the other one, their spirit will attack you, and so you have to basically kill them all. And once you kill them all, they're like, oh, my time is done, and they just kind of like float up to the sky, and then you watch them float up, and they're just sitting there in the sky for like a good 20 minutes. That's not 20, a good like
20 seconds.
Yeah, 20, 25 seconds before they go boop and they pop out of existence. So it's just kind of like.
Kind of reminds me of like Superman 2 with like the Phantom Zone or something, where like imagine if imagine if Zod just became a phantom and just going floated up to the distance and just disappeared.
I mean, it's janktastic. So
certain portions of the dungeons, there's like these floating skeletons of different colors that we discovered just sitting there dancing. So.
Yeah. Oh no, I think what happens is after you beat them, they kind of like they don't know what they're doing, and so they kind of T-pose, when you're done with them. It's just such a silly game. But the thing about it though is the combat is really kind of fun, and that's like the saving grace is the combat. Really, like the combat is a lot of fun, and it's just silly. It really harkens back to those, Xbox early 2000s, mid 2000 games where everything's just a little too chunky and everyone's eyes are just a little too bulgy, but at the same time you're like, okay. So, but yeah, but you can't go wrong.
Could be playing Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Y'all could be playing Grand Blue.
I wanted to play that stuff, but Joe hasn't played it yet, so I'm like, I blame Joe.
According to this thread, they said this game was originally called Kings and Heroes, and it was an open access on Steam and was pretty much unplayable for a very long time, and got eventually pulled from Steam.
Hell, y'all could be playing Gauntlet, like the original Gauntlet. It's like,
we were playing Gauntlet. What?
Oh my gosh. I mean, he's not wrong. He is.
We could be playing lots of different things. We could be playing like games on Xbox, but yeah, we're playing Dungeons of Sandaria.
It's like play a game that doesn't delete your progress. That's what I'm saying. It's like
progress is too overrated.
That's another it's another like a challenge.
Bless your janky hearts, I tell you.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, if you wanna play it with us, y'all, you listeners out there, if you want to play it with us, it's on sale right now. So
it's on Steam for $3.74. It's on Xbox for $3.74. So how about it?
Experience the love with us.
Yes.
Because yay. Yeah.
That's it for me. So, Des, what you been up to?
I'll continue because I played Dungeons of Sandaria with him, and yeah. So if you want to play, if you have any questions, let us know in the on our Discord. And we'll yeah, you never know. Well, Joe, you forgot to tell him you're someone you haven't talked to in like forever hit you up and was like, man, you playing this? I haven't seen anyone. I haven't played this in forever. Remember that guy?
No, yeah. One of my friends on my friends list, Art. He works at GameStop. He used to work at GameStop, and now he works at the same place I work at. And pretty much he just sent me a random message. He's been on my friends list for like years, and I haven't like really done anything with him. But it's like he just sent me a message on PSN. It's like, wow, I have never seen anyone play Dungeons of Sandaria on my friends list ever. So, he made a comment. I said, "Yeah, now we're checking it out, playing it out, man." So
I just sorry. It just makes me laugh every time I hear that damn, that stuff. Anyway, what have I been playing? I played Sea of Stars. That is the game the first game that in my repertoire that I am going to beat. I am super excited for it. I am more than about 16 hours in. So I feel pretty confident that I'll be beating this soon. I can't say when because I'm going to Comic-Con, so I won't be home. I won't be home, and so yeah, because I don't have this on the Switch, so I can't take it with me. But I definitely will be the first game that I beat, and it's been fantastic. I have lauded it for every time you hear me talking about it. I talk about how cool it is, and that is still the case. If you haven't played it, definitely play it. The story is fun. The combat fantastic. The verticality of climbing up on shit, jumping into water, fighting in water. It all just meshes really really well, and it's a really really great game. So that's all I can say about it. Play it if you have it. It's definitely worth it. Fantastic. You were gonna say something, Joe?
I was going to say if you were thinking about maybe you could use your Steam Deck and do remote play the game while you're in San Diego, but knowing you, probably not. So
yeah, I have way too much stuff to do in San Diego on there. But yeah, again, definitely a great game. Pick it up if you can. You will love it. It's so good. So, but that's what I've been playing. So Kev, buddy, what have you been playing? Except, well, not Dungeons of Sandaria. So you're playing the good stuff.
I've actually been playing a good game, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, as part of my backlog. I'm up to chapter 9, and I honestly thought it was ending after chapter 9. And it kind of threw me for a loop. It's like, okay, well, I saved the princess, quote unquote, even though she's not a princess. But I saved the damsel in distress, and it's like, we got more. Yeah, we got more, because now I have to save. I don't know what the opposite of damsel, or I guess. Gentleman in distress. There's a gentleman in distress that we gotta save now. So yeah, we're getting ready to do that. But I tell you, Grand Blue has some of the funnest gameplay loop of any action RPG, just about any action RPG. Probably second only to Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, in my opinion. It's the only thing that keeps it from being up there with those two games is because the story revolves around a core group of characters, and the other characters that you wind up getting are just random people that just join your crew because you get the equivalent of bus tickets by doing side quests and favors for folks. And once you turn in a ticket, you can select a laundry list of characters. There is no side story. There is no side quest that kind of goes into why they would want to join you. They're just there, and they're just, it's like they're like a standing group of available characters. Most are free, some are paid DLC that just join your crew just because. I've unlocked 3 or 4 actually now, that are just super crazy. In what will be subsequent replays of this game, I will definitely be playing with them. But man, this game, the way it utilizes spells and arts, you can play as any character that you want. As long as Grant is in the party, you can still continue you'll still be able to continue the storyline. It's just great. It's graphically impressive. Runs at a silky smooth 60 frames on PS5. Just man, it's almost in that realm, like I said, but without a doubt, definitely worth playing. And the only other game I've been dabbling in is Helldivers 2. Finally, have a build that I can extract on challenging levels, so I can actually almost cleared a map using what I'm calling the demolition loadout. Mm-hmm. So I'm running with the grenade launcher. I'm sorry, the Devastator. That's the wrong name for it, but I just can't. It starts with a D. I can't remember the name of the main weapon that I get that I use, but it's this. It's basically this assault rifle that shoots these metal. They're not even bullets. They're just like rods of steel that just penetrate everything, and it just eats everything alive at mid range. It's not really all that great up close, but as long as you keep the bugs away from you, it's more than capable of getting the job done. So I run with the Devastator and the grenade launcher as my auxiliary weapon, with the ammo pack as my backup. And what's neat about that is because both of these, and this is not something I came up with. This is not a carry that I came up with. I saw this on YouTube and decided to try and implement it. It also works using the breaker, one of the breakers, either the incendiary breaker or the standard breaker, auto shotgun. It all depends on what you're more comfortable with, because I'm comfortable with both the Devastator as well as the breaker, so I can run either as my primary weapon. But it's great because number one, you can complete the side missions or clear the map, because a lot of what you're dealing with regards to the bugs is clearing bug holes, and the grenade launcher is the perfect weapon for clearing those. Grenade launcher is also great at killing everything except for the charger, but as long as you have good stratagems, like you can either use the railgun, you can use the orbital strike, you can also use something like I forget what they call it. I forget what the guys, where this massive laser just comes down out of orbit and just follows everything and kills everything. You can use any one of those three, and that will take that. That's a good option for handling the chargers. But yeah, I actually extracted using that loadout, so I'm pretty proud of myself. The flame loadout is probably still the most fun, I think, but I just keep killing myself, so I don't really use it anymore.
We should try it.
Yeah. I mean, it's too many times I have just been set fire to everything around me and have just died because of just burning everything, including myself. So, but other than that, for this weekend, I've been watching Evo, which has been super great. Did not get a chance to go this year. I'm definitely going next year without question, because there's going to be a couple of fighting games that will have released and will be out in the wild for quite a bit. And I don't know, I might even actually compete in one of them. I haven't even, I'm not 100% sure. it'll be City of the Wolves. If I do compete in any fighting game, it'll be City of the Wolves.
Okay, so if you compete, I'll definitely be there. What you compete? No, seriously, I need to root you on because that'd be dope.
Yeah, I'm kind of missing Evo right now. I kind of regret, even though I haven't really been playing a lot of fighting games. It's just watching the excitement of watching matches and just being there. I think it's fun. So,
yeah, it'll be City of the Wolves and maybe 2XKO because I know EJ's really into that. That might be something we can enter together. I don't know if they'll be running singles or doubles for Evo with that game. I'm expecting that game to be present at the show. But those two games very much into. I'm even kind of interested in getting back into Marvel vs. Capcom 2. When that game comes out, that's really the only versus game that it's fast, but it's not crazy ridiculous like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was. I'm hoping if we get the version where Storm and Sentinel don't get their infinites and where everybody just picks those two in their team of 3 and it doesn't really matter who the third person is and just like one mistake, they just destroy you. If we get the version where those infinites are taken out, and I get time to really play and hopefully get gooder, and maybe I'll play for that, playing that one just for kicks. But the game I'm feeling right now is City of the Wolves. I've been watching some that's been on display front and center this Evo. There was a side tournament for that game, and that game just it looks freaking amazing. It what do they call that? That raster style, that hand-drawn style of the olden days, like the first Mark of the Wolves, the Garo games. I still love that art style better, but City of the Wolves, even though it's that pseudo 3D into 2D, looks like they borrowed assets kind of heavily from King of Fighters 15. It looks great. I really don't have a complaint about how it looks. And the systems that they're employing, kind of changing things up, looks pretty easy to grasp, but difficult to master. So I'm kind of into that. And 2XKO, I haven't really seen too much on that during the course of Evo, but they did announce one new character. It was like this big dude that has plays with these little furry little munchkin things, and he uses in his weapons loadout. He carries a big Braum, I think his name is. He's like this big kind of grappler dude with a huge shield that has an elemental property to it, and he looks kind of dope. I haven't really thought about who I'm going to be playing as, but since the game hasn't released yet. But when I played it last year, I didn't think I would like it, but I think I did like the build that they had available, and just watching the Tekken 8 playables, matches has just got me reignited to play Tekken. I will never be competing in Tekken at any tournament whatsoever. There's nothing but killers in that. And even with Tekken 8, as this was the first Evo where Tekken 8 was showcased, people are just like annihilating everybody. But what's neat about it is that some of the expected winners got eliminated in pools, did not not making it into the semifinals, because it's a brand new game, and it's like anybody really has a shot of making this first Evo for this game is debuting, really kind of landing that championship spot. So that's really exciting to see. But yeah, I've just been enjoying Evo season right now. And then also, last thing I'll mention, Flintlock. I downloaded it. I have not played it yet. I'm renting it on Xbox. I purchased a month of Game Pass Ultimate, so I will be at least trying Flintlock. It's been getting a lot of grief. It's been talked about fairly heavily. And it's like a total mixed bag. The gameplay looks interesting enough. I don't think it's something that I want to buy, but I'm more than willing to give it a shot and try it out. If I do decide to buy it, it will be a Black Friday purchase for sure. But the gameplay loop looks interesting enough that I felt I should check it out and see for myself what all the hubbub's about, positive or negative. So,
yeah, Flintlock's been looking pretty good. I'd have to agree. I almost bought it, but just like you, I was kind of like hesitant, just a little. It's supposed to be a Souls-like that is. It's like they balance the action RPG with the Souls-like elements. That way, it's a lot more accessible. And I know people, when they hear the word accessible, it means easy, but I don't think that. I just think it's not. It's more forgiving than a lot of other Souls-likes. You know, if you know what I mean. And I'm fine with that. I am fine with that 100%. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say, because if you like it, I probably will at least, you know, take my time and pick it up as well.
Yeah, so I'll be checking that. I don't know if I'll be able. I'll definitely be looking into it sometime this week. So
yeah, I know the physical is also hard to find, or wasn't printed in a massive amount of quantities per se. So I mean, if you're going to be buying it on a Black Friday deal, it's going to be more than likely a digital deal versus a physical deal. So on there, I know I checked Best Buy and I saw that they're already at least out of stock on the physical that came out this week for PlayStation 5 on there. So I was it was on my birthday list, but you know, I was going to give myself a birthday present, but can't buy it at Best Buy. So
good to know. Thank you.
Did they release a physical for Xbox for that?
That's a good question.
No, I don't think they did.
I'm usually looking for physical Xbox, but I'll take.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it was just for PlayStation. So
they're like, what do you expect us to do? Huh?
Especially with being on Game Pass day one. I mean, I know there's physical fans out there for Xbox. Yeah, they do have a physical for Xbox actually. So. And according to the Best Buy website, it already sold out. So, you know, probably made like 5,000 copies, but who knows? So
probably less than that. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, but I think it's still available probably at other retailers like GameStop.
Yeah. You can get it on Amazon too. Yeah.
All right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying when I was looking at it at Amazon. So. But and it was still, you still get it there. So, but yeah.
Okay. And and the very last thing is like, of course, with every Evo, there is some type of fighting controller that grabs my attention. And this year it was the Quamba Sapphire, and which I will probably be getting that too. I'm not going to order it. They didn't even come out with a release date for it. It is a leverless controller, very much like the Razer Kitsune, which I currently own. Much like all the other, well, I've sold I've sold two, and I replaced them with two other leverless controllers. And I'll be adding the Sapphire to my collection as well, because what's neat about it is that it has programmable direction buttons. It has additional buttons on the surface of the plexi, so you can customize directional buttons. And what's neat about that for games like Tekken, that have like dash cancels that are typically hard to do on, particularly if you are a right-handed player. You can select certain of those certain buttons, where you don't have to move your right hand over to the directional button side when you're on a player 2 side. So that means you can, in effect, once you get used to it, you will in effect be able to wave dash or dash cancel just as effectively whether you're on player 1 side or player 2 side. I saw that. I said, okay, I gotta have it. So I will probably pick that up next year when I make my way to Evo, because I mean they have all that stuff there for you to purchase. I'll just probably pick it up there. But yeah, that's what I have been up to this week. So that's moving us to our next topic on our docket, and that's going to be our main event discussion. So, all right, Des, you got the mic, my friend.
Okay. So, before we go, I want to read what Joe posted in our outline for what someone put about the the Steam message board comment on Dungeons of Sandaria. So this is what someone commented, and I wanted to say it because I thought this was hilarious. So it says, devs who have continued their discounts post-summer sales keep the same prices. It feels like the devs of this game are milking it for the last time, especially since it has been abandoned and remained broken. The first dungeon takes like 3 hours to finish, which is past Steam's 2-hour refund policy. And I had to replay the third and fourth dungeon twice because an NPC didn't spawn. Searching these forums, these bugs have existed since at least 2023. Game is full of English, bugs, ridiculous ragdoll physics, etc. I skipped through half the sixth dungeon because enemies kept knocking me off ledges, so I rolled mid-air, which stopped fall damage. Yeah, I can't wait to play this game more. Let's do it. Okay, wow. Okay, enough. Back to our main event. Back to our main event. So, sorry, Joe, when you post stuff like that's hilarious. I gotta read it. Anyway,
I know.
So our main event question is, what or who got you into video games in the first place? Was it a parent, best friend, or a shiny arcade cabinet? Let us know your comments, and we'll talk about them on our next show. So I'll start. So for me, it was my cousins. They were the ones who had an Atari, but my cousins weren't really like, they were it's weird. So my mother and everybody had a what was it called, a daycare center, and in the daycare center there was a bunch of kids, and the kids would play, and whenever one of the kids didn't want to play anymore or got tired of, they would, we would play, or whatever we didn't want would end up at the daycare center. So my cousins and everybody would have, a bunch of, stuff that they were tired of, and there was an Atari 2600, and I remember it specifically because they kept it in the back, and they would only bring it out when all the kids had finished their homework. And I was a bad little kid, so I just wanted to play it. I was like, no, I want to play this now. Like, I don't want to, So I was a bad little kid. So I would like, take it out, and they'd be like, Desmond, can't watch that right now, ha ha ha. And I'm like, no, I'll play it now. So I just pretend my homework was done. I was a little bad kid, and I wouldn't, and I would just go and play, that game. I'd play the games there. So I remember that was my first kind of like foray, and I'd play like Adventure, and I'd play Pitfall or something else. What was the one adventure game? I think it was called Adventure, where you were like a little pixel, and you'd run around and you'd fight little dragons, and it was all like really, really like 4-bit graphics or something.
Yeah,
It was called Adventure.
Yeah, that was the one that I played the most, and
or it could have been Haunted House because they both kind of look the same.
No, it was Adventure.
It was Adventure, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so crazy. So, but yeah, that's what I remember first was that foray into it, and then my friends were the ones that really kind of got me into gaming, and got me into gaming after that. Because when you're a kid, I'm playing with Transformers, I'm playing with GI Joes, I'm playing with all different types of stuff, and it wasn't until so a video game console was just another toy that you could play with. It didn't have any significance to me or anything like that. It was just as good as a GI Joe or He-Man. So it wasn't until after and I got what was it? I got my I got a it was a what was it? It was a Sega Genesis. I remember that. I got a Sega Genesis, and I would take it to my friend Patrick's house, and we would spend the night over Patrick's house, me and my friend Jason and Patrick, and we would sit there and play Golden Axe and Altered Beasts, and that was really the crux of really getting into games, into the 2-player games was that, because you could go down to Valley Video and you could rent your games. And so we would, rent some really trashy, 80s horror movies, and we'd rent a couple of Genesis games, and that'd be our weekend. Then we get some Pizza Hut deep dish pepperoni pizzas, and that was it. Like, to this day, I still can't eat a deep dish pepperoni pizza to save my life. Oh, it was just so many years. And so that's what I remember. And then the last thing that really kind of solidified was two things. Was staying up late with my friend Patrick and playing my Super Nintendo, his first one, and playing Mega Man and watching him beat Mega Man. And I'll never forget, he had the trick where if you paused when beating the monster, the big round monster that would shift back and forth from scene to screen, to one side of the screen to the other side of the screen, and you had to use Electman's power, and if you used it but you paused it, it would hit him multiple times because it would register a new hit, and it was like a cheap way. I remember I think he read it in like a Nintendo Power or something, and that's how he was able to cheat at that. And I'll never forget doing that. And just like, if you could use that Electman trick with everybody. So, do you guys remember that, the Electman trick with the Mega Man?
I read about it. I never done it, but I was aware of it.
Yeah. I saw Patrick did it, and I was like, whoa! It was so cool. And I remember, and then after that, we spent like the rest of the evening talking about who should play in a who would be in a Mega Man movie.
I never played the original Mega Man. I started the series at Mega Man 2, actually, after all the hype came down from it. So yeah.
No, I remember playing that first one and just loving it.
I remember seeing the box art, and I just thought, man, what the hell?
Yeah, that box art, that box art. Don't get me started on that box art. That box art was doing no one any favors. That was sad. I was like, you obviously are just mad at somebody for doing that, because it was bad.
It basically is like some New York looking Italian guy in a blue suit, basically. So
it was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. So, but of course they didn't know how to market that stuff back then. They still don't, probably. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I remember getting into it. And then the one that really, I said this before and I'll say it again, it was Joe. Like, it was living with Joe really was the thing that really kind of like really solidified, and us, and his game doctor, and us playing, games and going to, Hollywood Video for their cheap Blowout sales, and really buying those games, and then the what was it called? The chipping the old Xbox, and chipping the PlayStation 2 and all that other stuff, and having all the burnt games, and and stuff. That for me, that was the big sort of like, okay,
You weren't around for John BT and his shenanigans for PS1.
Oh no, I was, but I wasn't like super into it then. That was you guys who were super into like John BT stuff, and I remember you guys talking about that, and I was just like, oh, is he okay? And you're like, yeah, he's fine, and I was just like, oh, so, but yeah, I remember that, and that whole, saga being kind of crazy. So, but yeah, that's pretty much mine. Kev, what about you, sir? What or who got you into video games in the first place?
So it's probably a combination of three things. Just me discovering them on my own, my brother, and society in general. So it'll make sense I'll be quick. So I had a friend named Jason in elementary school. Well, actually, before that, my brother used to pick me up from kindergarten. That was kind of sort of his job, and we would either stop at one of two places. He was dating the mother of his children at the time, and we would make one of two stops. It would either be to Burger King, back when they actually used real meat, and it was either Burger King or I get a Big Mac, or we would go to this pinball parlor that was not too far from the college that my brother was attending, City College. So on those days that we would go to the pinball parlor, one day just happened to be in there, and they had this game in there called Space Invaders.
Oh,
and I looked at it. Well, they had Space Invaders, and they had this other game in there where it was either Stuntman or Stunt Driver. They're one or the other. One was it was Stunt Bike, because it had these motorcycle handlebars, and it was a black and white screen, and you would rev up on these. There were like 4 or 5 rows where the bike would be revving up, and you had to try on the bottom row. There was this jump, and you had to land like just right to keep from crashing. So I tried that, and I thought, that was okay. But then they had this other game there called Space Invaders, and I thought that was pretty fun. So I would keep asking my brother for quarters, and he came to find out that it was cheaper just to take me to Burger King after picking me up than to taking me to the pinball parlor, because his thing was pinball. He really didn't care about the video games in there, but I was kind of eyeballing that. So the other element was when I got into elementary school, I made friends with this kid named Jason. Now, Jason was one of those guys whose parents bought him everything. I mean, like literally, whenever it came out, he had it. It didn't matter what it was. He was the first person I knew that had Mazinga when they had those 2-foot tall plastic Godzilla, and I forget what they linked Godzilla with, but it was like giant mech, some giant mech IP from Japan way back in the day. But nobody wanted Godzilla, and nobody wanted the other one that they had. Everybody wanted Mazinga, because Mazinga had missile launchers that actually launched. And Jason was the first and I think only person who had Mazinga. And he brought that to school one day, and it was I mean everybody, he was just like king for the day. But anyway, me and Jason became friends, and he invited me over to play one Friday, and his dad had brought home an Atari VCS for him, brand new. And he had Combat, and he had like a couple other games. I can't remember which ones he had, but I was like, man, this is this is fun. So I went home, started telling my parents about this neat thing called Atari that had these things called cartridges that played these games on your TV where you didn't have to. I mean, arcades really weren't really a thing for me because I was so young. And I was just constantly yapping, yippity yapping the whole time. So time passes, and me and Jason still hanging out. So I think we're going into, I can't remember what grade we were in. But he comes, man, Kev, you need to come over. Didn't tell me why. I go there and he's got Space Invaders. So it was whatever year Space Invaders came to the Atari 2600. And by that time, there were some arcades were kind of a thing, but I was still too young to really go. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember playing this. Oh, I go home, not yell, but drive my parents crazy talking about Space Invaders and Atari. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So my dad actually went and checked out the 2600, and he thought it was trash. He's like, there's got to be something better than this coming. He said, nah, we're holding on. And that's when that following year, Intellivision came out, and that's when my mom took me to what was a locally owned department store called Gottschalk's to check it out. And I've mentioned this story before, I think, on this podcast, and the rest is history. But the other element in that also was society, because there was the drug epidemic, which had been running roughshod in Black and Hispanic communities for I don't know how long.
Yep.
When the little white kids started keeling over from overdoses, then all the news channels started talking about it.
Yep.
And my dad had a golf buddy whose son, he survived, but he came home and found his son overdosed on cocaine. And he was in rehab. He survived, but he was in rehab, and they don't know what he's going to do, and all this and all that. All this just horror story after horror story started coming back from, quote unquote, kids from the right side of the tracks, which typically meant white, upper middle class, wealthy, kids keeling over from overdosing on a variety of drugs. Never mind the fact that other ethnic groups were suffering from that. The media as a whole couldn't care less when it was Black and brown kids hurting themselves, but when the little white kids started suffering, then it became a national problem. But yeah, I'm still kind of salty over that. Anyway, my dad was like, I remember the day like it was yesterday, and his quote to me was, "I will drown you in video games, just don't do drugs." And that was the day that his buddy from the golf course found his son OD'd, because I guess his son was maybe like a year or two older than me. And, practically with tears in his eyes, he said that. And I took my parents up on that. That's how I got a ColecoVision. I said, well, I'd hate to start doing drugs. Not that I would actually do it. Not that I would actually do it, but my mom was like, well, why does he need ColecoVision? He's already got an Intellivision. It's like, well, I was trying to tell my mom, well, this is the arcade. They bring the arcade home. I'm just like quoting the exact same BS publication lines that the commercials were saying. It's like, well, this is the only place I can play Sub Rock, and never mind the fact I never played Sub Rock in the arcade. And this is the only place where I can play, Buck Rogers or whatever, Zaxxon, which I actually did play when my dad took me to the arcade, and we did play that. But these are like the arcade games, Mom, and it's like, you don't need that. And I just said, well, I'd hate to start doing drugs.
I mean,
that Christmas I had a ColecoVision.
hate to say it, but
I just took my dad at his word. This is, that's how I had it. That's how I had the 8-bit Nintendo, which ironically was the Christmas I got the Nintendo. That following summer, my father passed away. So the 8-bit Nintendo does kind of hold a certain level of sentimentality to me, just because that was like literally the last big gift he gave me before his passing. But yeah, that's how I became. That's how I got into gaming. A combination of friends, family, and parental guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite amazing, my friend. Yeah. So, Joe, you got any parental guilt in your backstory or anything like that? No, I think your parents were just like, whatever you want, and they'll just take it back, right? That's how your dad was. Just like,
well, basically, it was the point that my love for games kind of started. Even though I dabbled in pinball, I dabbled in other games. I remember that Death Race 2000 game particularly, but I saw Space Invaders as well. It happened to be there was a Space Invaders machine at the Ole Frijole.
Ole Frijole. Wow.
Yes,
that's going back a ways.
Yeah, Ole Frijole, which still actually exists. It's still there in Fresno. It is a buffet Mexican restaurant where you're able to go in and get all the enchiladas and tacos and burritos and soft serve ice cream. Yeah,
I remember it. To go to Manchester, $2 for two movies, and cop off your day with Ole Frijole. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why they're still. I'm curious how they're doing nowadays, but who knows? But
we should go check it out and do a review.
Yeah, it'll be my birthday extravaganza. We'll go to Ole Frijole and then we'll go to Sizzler. So
yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, there was a Space Invaders machine there, and I just kept wanting to play it. And we go there every Sunday after church. And I'd see that Space Invaders machine, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot again. I want another quarter. It's about the only time where I basically ate my food hell of a quick. I didn't want seconds. I wanted to go and play Space Invaders. So I might have kept them some weight off my young bones if need be. So,
yikes.
So, and I didn't know about Atari and 2600 and everything, but I kind of got stuck with my mom because my mom was a hairstylist, and so she went to her friend's house, and I had to go with her. And it was like in the evening, and I discovered that they had something in their house that played Space Invaders. It was Atari 2600, and I didn't realize the fact that, hey, there were Space Invaders on your own damn TV. So as soon as I discovered that, it was on like Donkey Kong, So pretty much
you're in it from the beginning.
Yeah, it was pretty much to where I was like, okay, because the Space Invaders for Atari 2600 came out in 1980 on here, but I wasn't aware of it until basically the end of 1980. And so once I saw that there was such a thing as Atari 2600, I needed one. I wanted one. But my parents at the time weren't able to really afford, because Atari 2600 was like $200, I believe. So it's a lot. So it's a kind of a big ask for a kid, and to have a parents outlay that. But my dad kind of worked with my aunt Frida, and she helped my parents and came up with a Sears Tele system, Tele Arcade, which was basically because Sears had their own versions of Atari 2600 and in television that they sold at Sears under their own Sears branding. And so I didn't get an actual Atari 2600. I got a Sears Tele Arcade, which is basically the same thing. So, along with some other games. And so that's where the seed kind of started. Then from there, because of Space Invaders, and then obviously I was soaking up everything under the sun. Just like I was collecting comics back in the day, I wound up getting. I was at like a drugstore checking out like the magazine games back in the day, and this magazine games basically had all sorts of things in there, like crossword puzzles and other things. But they had a video game column in there that I noticed, and I started reading. I didn't actually buy the magazine, but I would stand there and read it while my parents are shopping or whatnot. But they eventually came out, that same publisher of that games magazine came out with an electronic games magazine. It was it was like the first video game magazine on there, and I got my parents to subscribe at that point in time. And so I was soaking up games media even back then, like back in 1981, I subscribed to video game magazines. So that's where kind of the seed started for me. And then from there, and the same fervor I had for comics moved over to video games. And so, yeah.
So you really just you did it yourself. Like you saw that and said, hey, I want that. And that's kind of.
Yeah, that was it. Because I was at my mom, at this hair appointment with my mom, bored off my ass. And as soon as I saw they had Space Invaders, it's like, oh, shit. Oh, damn. And it's like, yeah, no, I was like, I was soaking everything up. Then from there, I got to see Combat, of course. I think they had Circus Atari. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, it was something to where I really enjoyed playing Space Invaders. So that's kind of where everything kind of started. And then from there, for me at least. So, and of course, after that, then, we go on runs to like places like, department stores like Kmart, Gemco. They would have the systems out for you to be able to play. And, you think I'd be bothered seeing what my parents wanted to buy as far as groceries or, shopping for clothes or whatever they're doing? No, take me to the video game section. I'm sitting there soaking everything up like, like a very thirsty sponge on there. So,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's always one of the things I've always, was interested about you, Joe. It's just like you didn't have really like anyone. It's like you literally just saw it and you were just like, okay, that right there, that's me. That's what I'm gonna build my whole identity on. Just kidding. No, it's just
no, it was no kids, because I hate to say it, but I was kind of like a little bit of a loner, It's like I was enjoying games, I was reading comics, like kids at my school, they didn't care about comics. They didn't care about video games, for the most part. Obviously, I found some friends later on that were interested in games, that kind of thing. So, but that's where it all started. And from there, and 2600 still holds a place in my heart because, I mean, my parents used to take us to arcades too, and my parents would play arcade games with us. And so it's once Pac-Man came out, they were playing Pac-Man just as much as we were and checking out other games at the time. And my parents both enjoyed playing Centipede too as well. Yeah. So
I remember your mom playing playing Dr. Mario a lot too.
Yeah, both my parents played Dr. Mario. In fact, they both my mom played Monopoly obsessively, both on the Sega Master System and on the NES. And my mom used to play like games like Shanghai, and even when we had a 2600, we play like stuff like video pinball together. We take turns and that kind of thing. So it was a family thing until I got my own TV in my room, and then we wound up, putting one of the 2600 in my room for a while. But we would bring it out sometimes to play video pinball and other stuff. So I remember the day we went to go get Pac-Man too. Pac-Man was like a big thing. It was like a big to-do that Pac-Man came out. Too bad it was, even though the game was trash, the 2600 version of Pac-Man was trash. It was like, my parents played it too. I remember when Donkey Kong came out too, and then we got the home version of Donkey Kong. And as much as that 2600 version of Donkey Kong was trash, it's like, still enjoyed that. But that led me to, like Kevin, begging for a ColecoVision, and then from there, I wound up. Dad boxed up the 2600 back to Sears, and we got myself a ColecoVision. So like we're renting games, So.
Yeah. I I had to do. It was funny. I either got them for my birthday, or I had to, or I got money for my grades, and that's what I would spend stuff on. But again, it was either Transformers or video game Transformers. One out all the time. So again, I didn't become really super into my gaming until I was much more. So I actually moved out when I had my own money, when I could do my own stuff is really when I really started getting into it. So
yeah, no, I was motivated from the beginning. No, between 8th and 9th grade, I worked the entire summer with a summer work program. And what did I buy with all my money I earned? I bought an Atari 800 XL. I should have bought a Commodore 64, but I was hell bent on earning enough money to be able to buy my own Atari computer, and I did. So went down the Boots camera with all my $4.25 an hour earnings, and
Joe's like, this is my life.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for sharing and walking down memory lane. I know we do this every couple episodes. We'll do another one of these type of situations. We talk about our histories and stuff like that. The reason why we do this is so you can get to know us a little bit more, and we would love for you to share your stories with us, because this is a community-driven podcast, and we want our community to join us for game nights. We want them to contribute to our stories, and we want them to contribute their own stories, because it's the one thing about gaming. And I think Joe kind of encapsulates this as well when he spoke about his playlist, is it's a community. Multiplayer exists for a reason in video games. It's another way to and share stories and have fun, So definitely, if you feel moved and if you want to answer this question, please do so. You can do it in our Discord. You can do it on our Twitter account. We'll never call it X, a Twitter account. And yeah, we can talk more about this. But what follows me. It's the Jabroni Gaming News.
All right, thank you, Des. Okay,
You're welcome, sir.
Since it's Evo time, we're going to kind of discuss a few things from the fighting game tournament and, obviously the companies that surround said tournaments. And so SNK, kind of, in a way, they were during a panel at Evo. This was from Joshua Weatherford, which is basically an executive at SNK. He commented during this showcase panel, talking about the future of SNK, and he commented, there's a lot of stuff in the works. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about, but what we have said, and we have a few projects that are very far out. We want to get some more and more staff, because we need more people to make these crazy awesome games. One that got a lot of press over here at Evo is that we have announced that we're making a new Art of Fighting on here. So you're going to see Southtown in its full 70s glory brawling again. And also, one of the projects I'm in charge of that we also mentioned at the same time is a Samurai Showdown action RPG. I look forward to that. That one, we have a lot of surprises in store for that one. So basically, no other comments were made, but there is a new Art of Fighting in development, and there is a Samurai Showdown action RPG in development as well. So kind of good news on that front on there. So, and also SNK announced at Evo itself during the Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, there was an announcement for SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos. So the SNK version of Capcom versus SNK versus Capcom was released as of tomorrow on July 22nd. It's coming out via Steam with Switch and PS4 versions on there as well. So if you want to go back and play SVC Chaos, this came out back in arcades back in 2003. They also came out for PS2 and Xbox at a later point during that gen, but it's never been previously released for PC or Nintendo platforms on there. So I don't know if you guys remember, SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos. I thought it was kind of cool. It's from the King of the Fighters developers at the time. but I kind of like Capcom versus SNK more myself, so I prefer
Yeah,
the Capcom side of the fence on this. So
yeah, that's the one everybody wants, particularly the second one. That's the one everybody's really wanting. But Chaos didn't do much for me. Um, I couldn't get used to seeing Street Fighter characters done in a KOF style. That really threw me off. And I don't know. I just really wasn't feeling the game. So it didn't really do much. It really didn't do much for me. So I would, unfortunately, I will probably not be playing this one.
got it. How about excitement for either Art of Fighting or Samurai Showdown action RPG, Kev? I mean,
Art of Fighting, sure. The Samurai RPG, I'm interested in. I just need to know not more, but something about it. Like if it plays like Relink, I'm all in because that gameplay loop is just so much fun. I'm not going to be expecting the next Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Relink or anything like that from this, but if it gives me a fun gameplay loop, that's really all I could ask for from a Samurai Showdown RPG. I just want a fun gameplay.
got it. How about you, Des? Any comments about either of these two?
I know they're really about their fighting games, and I know people really like that. But I've actually liked some of I like their art style, and I really hope that they're doing something different. And by that I mean, like, can we get like maybe an RPG? An SNK RPG or something. I know they probably don't want to be in that field, and because they probably would lose money. But I really enjoy the way that they look and stuff like that. So part of me's like, I kind of want to, like, I still want to,
The
have
Samurai
that.
Showdown is rumored to be it's going to be an action RPG. So
There you go. Bring it on. Let's do this.
yeah, I'm kind of curious because SNK released the Samurai Showdown RPG for the Neo Geo, and it came out for both PS1 and Saturn back in the day.
Yeah, but it didn't have a translation.
It was recently translated into English finally. So
Oh, okay then.
yeah,
I
there
see
is
you.
a version out there right now if you want to play for either PlayStation or Saturn that you can play that in English fully translated. So I'm curious to go back to that, maybe download a ROM and kind of go from there
Might have
on
to.
that. So because
That would be dope.
back in the day for me, I could say me and Des, we were big Samurai Shodown fans and kind
Still
of
are.
seeded to that day, between Samurai Showdown 1 and 2, and then moving on to 3 and 4. I mean, the series is kind of important for us, at least, for me. I mean, I enjoyed it
Mhm.
quite a bit.
I agree.
Art of Fighting wasn't necessarily my favorite, even back in the day. I always thought Fatal Fury was better. People loved the fact that the sprites were so huge on Art of Fighting 2 in particular.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Plus,
I
they
thought,
actually showed damage.
yeah,
Yes.
That was kind of like the hook for me. It's like the Art of Fighting. You punch some dude enough times, and you get a swollen eye, busted lip, ripped clothes. So
It
I've
just looked
always thought
cooler.
that was kind of cool.
yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm Team Fatal Fury all the way. Team Garou all the way. Even with regard to that.
Did
I
you happen to?
also every cabinet that I played Art of Fighting on, the special moves either wouldn't work at all or just were really hard to do.
Yeah.
And they were just simple fireball motions, but they wouldn't. I could never get them to come out. So I don't know if I was just playing on faulty cabinets or what, but the moves were just really hard to execute. Just about every cabinet I played Art of Fighting on.
Maybe the game was kind of just not as fluid as other games as far as recognizing input too. That's another
That's
thing to keep in mind.
was
You
quite
know, I remember playing the Super Nintendo Art of Fighting, and the Takara, I think, was the publisher of that, which I think was SNK and like a different name or whatnot. But I kind of felt like even that Super Nintendo version of Art of Fighting was kind of butt too. So. But lo and behold, that's what happened there. So as far as anything else from Evo right now, obviously there's going to be more announcements today. I don't know as far as anything that kind of cut wind. I know Fatal Fury City of Wolves announced that they're adding Kevin to the roster, but it's another character that was part of the Garou title on there. So did you happen to chance to watch the live stream for City of the Wolves, Kev, as far as the tournament that they had?
I did, and I'm really hyped for this game. It's seeing how some of the different systems, like they have a rush mechanic, and they have, and I'm saying I'm not using the right words for this because I was just kind of really more into the game, watching the gameplay than listening to them. Because before the tournament started, they went kind of in depth and explained everything. I missed most of that. By the time I was able to watch it, was when they got into the gameplay, and I just never went back and saw the beginning of it. But there is like a rush mechanic. The brake system is back, which I absolutely loved in Mark of the Wolves, even though I could never do it very well. I just thought that was super dope. Which so the brake mechanic is where you feint either a special move or a normal, and then you can go into an actual normal move. So like Terry would, if you understood the brake mechanic with Terry, you could like damn near eliminate anybody's health bar. I mean, Terry had probably like the best break combos in the game. It was absolutely ridiculous. He would go into his burn knuckle. He would feint the burn knuckle, go into a standing fierce, feint another burn knuckle, go into a crouched fierce, and if you were close enough, you could go and feint another burning knuckle and go into a close fierce for another 2 hits and enter into Buster Wolf, and it's just kill everybody. It was ridiculous, but yeah, they're bringing that mechanic back, and it looks like it's going to be easier to execute this time around. So I can't wait to get into the lab and start experimenting with this roster. It looks that game just looks fantastic to me.
Definitely looking forward to checking that live stream out. I was working yesterday, otherwise I would have took a peek, but we'll cover more EVO news if it does break in the next episode. Another thing that kind of, came out from sales reports on Resident Evil 7. So I don't know if you paid attention during that Capcom live event that they had like about 3 weeks ago, the one that they were talking about Dead Rising remastered. But they released Resident Evil 7 for iOS, and so yet again, releasing full console games on iOS is not exactly something that people wanted, according to the sales figures for Resident Evil 7 on Apple devices. It's been bought by approximately 2,000 people on here. So,
jeez.
So yeah, the free to start game has been downloaded 83,000 times since its release on July 2nd, meaning that about 2.4% of the people downloading the trial version actually paid the $20 to be able to play the game on iOS. So all in all, with that particular amount of income, they earned approximately $28,000 in income, and that does not include Apple's 30% cut then from there. So that means Resident Evil 7 is the latest AAA release to flop on the platform. I don't know if you know this, but they also released Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage on iOS devices. So since it launched on June the 6th, for instance, under 3,000 people have paid $60 for Assassin's Creed Mirage. So like no one wanted to actually pay top retail price for these AAA games on iOS, unfortunately. So For Resident Evil comparisons, Resident Evil 4 basically has been bought by approximately 7,000 people, so only 7,000 copies sold, while Resident Evil Village was sold right around like 5,000 copies. So those all came out last year too. So, unfortunately, because of the requirements for these games, because basically it's a point you have to own either a iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max and iPads with an M1 chip or above. So, do you really think out there? I mean, what's your guys' opinion? Do you want a AAA experience on mobile with these titles?
No.
So is a phone with a touchscreen really suitable for these type of games? So
no, I don't think a phone with a touchscreen is the problem. I think the problem is people want to sit down and they want to like games on your phone or games on the go. I just don't think I don't know. It's just having it on like a pad or a phone, the experience is different. And I just don't think that people, it's weird. I think it's more so how people orient themselves to playing certain games. And I think certain games just feel better and look better and do better when they are like not treated as disposable, and I think I get it. Access. They want people to have access to the stuff, to do different stuff and have again access, on different, like they're testing all these different ways to give people access as well to make money. But I thinking, this is just not the way that like this is just not it. I'm just and I don't know what's going to need to happen, or maybe they just need to go through these. By they, I mean the companies need to go through this to test the waters to see what's going on, because right now it's like I'm not surprised that it flopped, because I just don't think the everyday person that's going to buy an iPhone is going to play that on their iPhones. I think most people are either going to watch something or play like an actual smaller form factor game. And a game like Resident Evil, it requires you to actually stay in the game for a little while than just the time allotted for a phone, or on a pad. So I just don't think people see that as a viable way to play their games, and that's why it is flopping. I still think people are just there yet, and I don't know if they ever will be there. So I mean, hey, you go out there, you try it, you see what your marketing teams are trying to see what works, and go ahead and do your stuff. But I hope this isn't one of those things where you put all that resources and money into it and then it doesn't work. And then, you're kind of asked out, like you can't do anything else. That's what I don't want to happen, because, you're out here trying all these things. And then if it doesn't work, you're just kind of asked out. And it's like, okay, well, now you spent all this money, your company can't regroup, and now you're gone. It's like, just, I don't know. I want to tell them to stop it, but they're not going to. They want to find out what's going on. They want
a new revenue stream.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Pretty much, they want a new revenue stream. That's exactly it.
Well, the problem is that they're not understanding the gamer on the mobile device is not the same type of gamer on the PC or the console.
Exactly,
and that's 100%. The thing. They refused. Not only that, and I don't think it's them trying to figure things out. I think they're trying to force the issue. And I think part of it goes back to development costs. Now, Resident Evil 7, 4 were all commercial successes, right? But I remember watching, because I am an Apple owner. I have just about everything Apple. I remember watching one of their not press conferences, but kind of like Apple's version of E3. And they brought the developers out and they talked on stage and they talked about how awesome it was that, gosh, you're getting the same type of performance out of your iPad that you're getting from a reasonably powered PC and these new consoles, and oh, isn't this great? Isn't this awesome? Isn't this super keen? Well, nobody's asking for that. They want more Candy Crush. They want more Farmville. That's the type of games that people want on their mobile devices. Type of stuff that you can go while waiting in the dentist's office to be seen. Yep. Type of games that you can sit and play when you're on the throne for about 5 minutes or whatever. The type of game that you can maybe pop out if you're in an LA traffic jam waiting for traffic to start moving. Nobody wants to sit in front of their tablet, in front of their phone for 12, 14, 16 hours playing through Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 4. Nobody wants to do that. And these sales numbers reveal that because number one, nobody wants to use a touch screen. Number two, all of these controller add-ons for mobile devices, they all take away the thing that makes a mobile device mobile. They're not as easy to carry around anymore. So you've got these Frankenstein add-ons that are on your tablet or on your phone now. So it's not quite as portable as it was before. And folks want to sit down in front of the monitor, in front of the TV to play these types of games, get comfortable, have a beer next to them, what have you, and then get into an in-depth story and in-depth complex gameplay. Nobody wants to do this on the go. And these games are not designed for on-the-go play.
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's almost like they're and one of the things that also I think is the reason why they're probably going to continue to do this is, if I'm remembering correctly, at this one of these Apple presentations when the Capcom reps were up on stage talking about how awesome it was to be able to play Resident Evil on iOS devices, they are talking about how cost effective and inexpensive it was to port. So there is something built into their engine that is making the mobile version of these games, like, based on the way they seem to be describing it, it's almost not costing them anything in development costs. It all has to do with the versatility of the RE engine and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't understand because I'm not a game developer. But that's what the gist of what I got when they were on stage and describing this stuff. So it could also be that, hey, let's throw it against the wall, see what sticks. It's not costing us not very much or next to nothing or whatever compared to the cost of developing a AAA game from scratch. We got the assets, we've got the engine that makes translating this into mobile a much easier proposition, a cost-effective proposition. Let's just roll with it and see if we can get some money out of it. So that could be it too.
I agree.
It's kind of crazy, but unless I think Apple subsidizes some of these games to come to mobile, there's no way. I don't think there's a market here for full-blown gaming on iOS devices. I hate to say.
Apple ain't subsidizing nothing.
No, they ain't subsidizing nothing.
They're like,
all they would want is to get their 30% cut.
Hell yeah, they're like,
yeah.
They don't care if you want.
And by the way, it's the same on Android. Nobody with an Android phone wants to play Resident Evil either. So these folks, these companies are going to continue to throw mud at the wall to see what sticks. But in this case, it's iOS. It's the same case for Android. These are not the type of games that the mobile gamer cares about. They're not.
We're going to have to kind of see. I mean, listeners, let us know out there. What games do you play on mobile? What are you interested in playing? We don't play mobile games on this show.
Speak for yourself. I play mobile games.
Oh, okay.
Well, seriously, most of the mobile games I play is like a card game or a tower defense game or something that, seriously, a game where the level is completed in like 5-10 minutes. Seriously, that's what I play. Like I'm not playing RPGs or anything like that. No,
You're
definitely
not
not.
playing like Genshin or anything like that, so.
No. I don't know how people can play Genshin, to be completely honest with you. Not to say that Genshin is like bad or anything, but I just don't know how people can play it on there. When we were at, where were we at? We were at one of the shows. I think it might have been PAX. We were at PAX and they had a Genshin. No, they had a Hong Kong Styro. They had a demo of it. And
Yeah, we played it for a minute on a phone, I think.
yeah, I tried to play it and I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, no, 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 no. I had to put that one down and be like, nope, this is not for me. Thank you, but no, thank you. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope,
All right.
not for
But
me.
yeah, definitely let us know out there if you do play mobile games, what you play, and if it's something to where it's quote unquote more serious games. I know with iOS, with the Apple allowing emulators on there, I think there are people out there playing like older console games on the go too as well. Maybe using even some sort of controller docking device to be able to go ahead and play with actual controller controls versus touch controls if need be. So let us know what you play out there. I'm kind of curious. So. And then to round out the Jabroni Gaming news for this episode, we had some news come out regarding Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. There was a leak of the entirety of the game out on the interwebs on here. So basically, it came out to be that a lot of people said, "Oh, the full game got leaked online on here." Saber Interactive and Focus Interactive, the publisher, released a statement imploring players to quote unquote avoid this unfinished build and to not spoil the game for those excited to experience it for the first time at launch. They made a statement that says, "We are deeply touched by the overwhelming support we received from our community following the leak of an old build of our upcoming game, Warhammer 40k. Space Marine 2. Basically, they stated that the version that it was leaked out was almost a year old as far as the build on here. So and they don't want that to be the first time that their users experience Space Marine 2 on there. They said they've been, obviously working on this game for years on there, and we don't want to spoil that for you if need be. I hate to say it, but there's a big piracy scene as far as, especially on PC, that people are always playing games for free for a certain contention. I do have some friends that don't listen to the show, but that basically do pirate a lot of PC games still to this day on there, and so that's how they experience a lot of the games that they play is through piracy versus buying them outright. So it's best that everyone play this with the final build that comes out. Game is going to Space Marine 2 is going to be out on September the 9th, and so I know I'm buying it. I know you're buying it as well, Kev. I don't know if you're buying it too, Des, but it's kind of sad to see that some people are going to get spoiled on this game playing an older build, but it is what it is. So,
Yeah,
what's
it's
your
pretty
overall?
sucks.
Yeah.
Can we be honest about what this is really about? This is, granted, PC players, a lot of PC gamers. I'm not going to lay it on all of them, but a lot of these guys pirate. They're selling the 7 Cs big time. So that's going to happen with any game. What this is really about, and we can lay this directly at the feet of the Chutosphere. When Games Workshop announced that they were bringing females to the what do they call that group? The custodians, whatever. That's when the shitstorm started. And this game's promotional material started kicking off right in the midst of that. And because it's in the 40K world, and 40K and Games Workshop was fighting this anti-woke battle with the chuds and the anti-chuds and all that nonsense going on. I think that was the big provoker to get this game leaked, because the first thing that I heard when this game's build at the time was leaked was that a lot of these Chutosphere guys started popping up and saying, oh, well, this game's not woke. Oh, we thought it was going to be woke. It's not woke. And it's like, okay, so you guys went and pirated a game to see if it was woke as you define it. This is why I say the modern day gaming community sucks decaying donkey dicks, because they do stuff like this.
Yeah,
when games get caught up in this culture war nonsense, and people can't discuss the opposing views with any degree of rationality, people's hard work gets spoiled. And this is going to affect their sales to some degree, particularly on PC. And folks coming in and saying, "Oh yeah, well, they were true to the lore of the main character from the first game," and this and that. Again, I ain't never read a 40K book. I ain't never bought a 40K figurine. I ain't never painted a figurine. I never rolled a die, and a 20-sided die in a 40K game. And I guess what? I never will. My only interest in the 40K has and will be the games. That's all I care about. I'm this big freaking walking tank fighting hordes of orcs and shooting orcs in the face. And I thought that was dope. And in this game, I get to fight with these Tyranids, which are even scarier than the orcs. Because it's like when these things show up to your planet, it's like, bye-bye, see you later. Y'all ain't got no hope. And as tough as you are, it just looks like you are just up against such insurmountable odds. That's the type of action game. It's bloody, it's gory. Like I said, I'm meat and potatoes, death and destruction when it comes to my gaming, and this just says show enough all over it. I don't care about all the other stuff that's attached to this game. I just want to play the game. And this is the problem, because now that everything is all part of this culture war bullshit, people got to go out of their way to ruin other folks' hard work instead of, hey, let's just wait until the game releases. Let's wait until it gets in people's hands. If you're concerned about the message, then you can wait until people whose opinions you trust make a statement, and you can base your opinion off that. Personally, I think that's kind of weak, because I can make my own decisions. Thank you very much. I don't need somebody else to tell me a game is good or not. I don't need somebody to tell me whether a game has a quote unquote message or not. I can figure that shit out on my own. So I think that's a lot of weak-minded people who are into this culture war nonsense, who get kind of terrified when anybody with a certain level of melanin pops up, or God forbid they have a vagina, and then, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. And I think that's on the opposite end. I'm tired of seeing legacy characters be turned gay for no reason, be turned black for no reason, be turned female for no reason. It's stupid on both sides. But the thing that I can do is I can discuss this like a rational human being. These dumb motherfuckers, pardon my language, have to go scorched earth and just ruin everything for as many people as possible. And that's the part that bothers me with this hobby. And it's the community. Oh gosh, what was the first Batman movie with the Michael Keaton version of Joker said? The gaming community needs an enema. It really does.
Oh, usually if you don't look for this stuff out the usual social media channels, you usually are not kind of privy to that kind of stuff. I think
this stuff pops up in my feed day in, day out. I'm not necessarily. The only thing that was close to culture war stuff that I actually looked at was Forspoken. Ever since I did that That's all that pops up in my YouTube feed. That's all that pops up in it.
Yeah, well, I was going to comment. It's like I was looking at Flintlock on the Best Buy website, and I saw they had user reviews, and the reviews had 3 stars based on 2 reviews, and one person rated it 5 stars out of 5. But then there was a second review, 1 star out of 5, and all the one sentence review said this game had consultations with Sweet Baby Incorporated.
Yeah.
So,
as if Sweet Baby is making the game from the ground up. It's like that's not how consultation businesses work, y'all. It's not how that works.
Yeah, but
not how that works at all.
They wound up giving the game 1 star. I looked at the reviewer, and the reviewer said they were provided a promotional code to review the game ahead of time, and that's what they did. They went on Best Buy's website, and like anything matters. I just was curious why it had 3 stars. And lo and behold, hey, this had Sweet Baby involvement. 1 out of 5. It's like, okay, get out of here with that crap.
Yeah. So
I think there was another news story I didn't bring into today's episode saying that they actually consulted with someone, a known professor of Japanese history, talking about Sasuke with Assassin's Creed Shadows, that he indeed was a ninja. He indeed was a samurai. so
that if it's the same guy I'm thinking of, they've got the Japanese government involved because apparently somebody in the Japanese government thinks that this guy, who's the author, is white, just came up with this out of his own imagination. And they're mad that this game is being depicted as historically correct, which I'm sorry, there has never been an Assassin's Creed game that's been historically correct, because I don't remember reading about the battle, the fight with Set, the god of death, on the flaming horse in my Egyptian history class. I'm sorry. I don't remember that part. I don't remember the magic aliens coming down with the magical apple that seeded all of humanity. I must have missed that lecture.
You did, sir.
So, and again, I think that's probably closer to reality in my understanding of ancient history, but that's a whole other discussion. But again, I don't remember reading about any of that shit in history. So as far as I'm concerned, Assassin's Creed, Warhammer 40K, the only reason I wouldn't get Assassin's Creed Day One is because of the Ubisoft game, and it's really you're actually throwing money away when you buy them Day One. But just to be that guy, because number one, I'm interested in the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop looks dope. Probably buy that game Day One, but I sure as hell am buying 40K Day One. I could care less about the politics that's going around it. I'm just mad that the knuckleheads are it's like it's costing them money now. That's the issue that I have. Say what you want about me. The minute you start costing me money, that's when I really have a problem with you. And these folks are costing these developers some money, and they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And I think that's the thing that sucks.
I agree with you.
That is the Jabroni Gaming News for this episode. I hate to leave it on such a contentious subject, but
Well, I mean, it's stuff that needs to be discussed, and it needs to be. I think it's important enough. Particularly now, if it's just knuckleheads yapping on Twitter, who cares? But when these developers, it was hitting these developers in their pocketbooks. I think the light needs to be shown. And like I said, gaming community needs an enema, and the only one that can give us that enema is us.
Grab them fleets. Grab them fleets.
And when I say us, I don't mean us, the 3 hosts on this show. I mean us collectively, the rational people that hopefully still make up the majority of this gaming community. But anyway, game night. every Tuesday. We've changed the time to a little bit later to hopefully be able to accommodate more folks. So we're playing 9 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Sorry
okay.
about that.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, we're really late now.
Really? Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, midnight. You can bear game with us on midnight on Eastern
yeah,
Coast.
okay,
Yes.
that's like, that's like, so 6 p.m. Pacific,
9 p.m.
9
Eastern
p.m.
time.
Eastern.
All right, so sorry.
Yeah.
And if you want to game with us at any point in time, I mean, just let us know on the Discord. Just, if you're a member of the Discord, just shoot us a message. I mean, with the integration with Discord and PlayStation right now, it's super simple for us to throw up a Discord chat room if need be, especially if you want to play on PC or another console. If you're not on PS5 at the moment, feel free to let us know. We could always chat up with you on Discord itself. So.
So, and you might be asking, hey, how do I join the Discord? Well, that's easy too. All you do is head over to the app formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X, and head on over to @GamingVessels, GAMINGVESSELS. You just click the link in the bio and you're in. There's no merch that we're begging you to buy, and there is no Patreon tier list that we need you to subscribe to. All we ask is that you be a good person, likes talking about and playing video games and discuss them in our growing Discord family. And speaking of growing, we would like to welcome a new member, VB, to our Discord family. So I hope you will. I'm sure you will find a very fun gaming centric home in our our Discord server. So definitely want to welcome VB aboard the good ship Gaming Vessel. So that is going to bring episode 254 to a close. I want to thank you for hanging out, cooling out, chilling out, without a doubt, with us this episode. So for Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover.
That's me.
AKA the Cat Daddy, aka that gamer stepdaddy, and for Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I'm Shonuff71, aka Digadulamite.
That purple bling bling, y'all.
And we'll be back not next week, but next time, episode 255 for your ears. Peace.